All right. Thanks for joining this podcast today. I've got Shannon with me, and she's from Open Houses Direct. And we're going to explore some industry trends that Shannon and her industry are seeing. Firstly, I'd like to sort of just open up with, you know, who you are and, you know, about your role. And can you share a bit about your role in your business, Shannon?
Yeah. So Open Houses Direct is my company. I created it. I designed it. And I also designed the patent, which our patent was approved in February of 24. And so it is my company and I run it. 100%. I do have a tech team and a marketing team as well. But we've been around since about 2017. 2017 is when I came up with the idea. I was a real estate agent in the field, very busy, very successful. And I found that my tool was needed and it was not available anywhere. So I decided to create it. And at that time, I didn't realize what creating a tech company was going to be, was going to entail. But yeah, so I created it in 2017. I've been in real estate since 2005. I got my start really in real estate in Shanghai, China. I did relocation in China while I was over there, and I really got the bug for helping people find homes. And I essentially did executive relocation. So I got assigned a family, and I would relocate them to China. I would find them the right schools, the right housing, the right communities, right? And moving to another country, especially like China and being in the expat community, you know, where somebody landed was very important, rather than just like throwing a dot on a map and hoping that they're in the right community. And so I really fell in love with being able to help families, and that they were so grateful for where I would put them. And it was really personal to me that when I got back to the US and I decided to get into residential real estate, I think that's why I gravitated so much towards open houses, even as a young agent, because I got in front of people that were not represented. A lot of times they were driving around looking at properties and, you know, not really familiar with the communities, and, you know, being able to help them with the knowledge and where you should have them land became such a passion of mine. So open houses were how I built my business, but the technology wasn't there for what I needed in order to run them effectively. And that's how I came up with Open Houses Direct.
That's great. I particularly like how relocating. I've relocated to another country, and I like the point about how you talk about finding the right community, because I think for me and my family, when we relocated to Dubai, UAE in 2020, we didn't know anything about, you know, the country as such. We'd only visited once, and finding that community, and we now live in a great community, and that's thanks to somebody finding us, a relocation person finding us the right community. Can you sort of elaborate? So how did you come up with the business model, I guess, or what is the business model of Open Houses Direct?
So the business model it's multiple levels, but the main concept is being able to run an open house, and also being able to track every single person that comes in. And I would have open houses and I'd have 20 people coming in. I never had a system. I never had a check-in system. I would just be in the open house like we all used to, and we'd put cookies out and water bottles, and I'd have 20 people in my client's occupied home, and they'd all come in and then they'd all leave, right? And the point of the open house was not only to generate leads, but also to get feedback for my seller. And I couldn't do either because everybody would come in at the same time. I had really no system other than a piece of paper. And what happened with the piece of paper is I'd have a whole bunch of names. I didn't know who was the couple that was renting, or who was the couple that had just gotten here from Chicago, or the family that lived down the street, or whatever. And the contact information was half the time wrong, right? And for me, I'm like, I need a better system because I'm losing business. I would have people come in also where how I came up with this initially, it was one open house. I had somebody come in and they left me they left a pair of readers, and they were very expensive prescription glasses. They weren't just your regular grocery store readers. Like, I could tell they were prescription. And I had 10 people come in that day, and it wasn't my listing, right? And it was also in a gated neighborhood. So I was like, why is it that I can't find this person? So this person came into my open house, and they probably got back in their car and they went home, and they were like, oh my gosh, we went to 10 open houses today. I lost my glasses, and the glasses were probably $400. I will never forget just looking at them going, somebody is missing these. And I said, you know what is so hard about this is I can't get these back to the person that left them, because I didn't check anybody in, because I have no idea who came in. And so I realized that there's as much reason and as much importance for me to have to reach out to people after the open house for numerous reasons. Also, for them to be able to reach out to me. But they didn't know, they probably went to all these open houses. And if it was in a gated neighborhood, they'll never get back in. And if it was the listing agent and it was the open house agent that they met and they didn't get a flyer or a card, right? They're kind of lost. And so I wanted to create a system where I could check in, verify, and track every single person that came into my open house. And that's how I came up with the system. And it's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. And it's a game changer for agents who adopt it. And the reason why our sellers don't allow us to have open houses is because we don't run them the same way we would a day of showings, right? An open house should not just be a free-for-all. It should not just be open, right? Because if an agent wants to show my house, they have to have a license, and then I give them access to a lockbox, right? And then I can track who came in. And there isn't any reason why our consumers, our buyers, our sellers, our neighbors, there isn't any reason why they should not have the same system when they come into an open house. And my open houses are run like that. And the consumer is actually more impressed than turned off. I've actually gotten more listings from the neighbors who were so impressed with how I ran the open house that they wanted me to come over and meet with them about selling their house the same way because of how I checked everybody in.
Okay. And this with Open Houses Direct, so other listing agents can also access the platform or have access to the platform. Have they given you the same feedback that they're also winning listings using the system?
Yes.
Using the platform?
So the national statistic is 52% of buyers have a house to sell. So if you get a buyer to come into your open house and you check them in and you can follow up with them and they have a house to sell, that's how you get listings. There are more than one way to get listings, right? And it's the easiest way to get a listing is to have a neighbor come over and meet you that wants to put their house on the market, right? And I was actually just at an event, a Tom Ferry event, who I love him. He's fantastic. And he was up there talking about lead conversion, right, for listings. And it said that we have to follow up with a lead at minimum 5 times to convert them. That's like the national average right now. Is the follow-up has to be 5 times. Yet open house leads, the conversion rate is only 5%. And the reason why the conversion rate at open houses is so low, because I'll tell you, my open houses are not 5%. My open house leads are much higher because I can follow up. But if you have 10 people come into your open house and you only check in 1 out of 10, then how can you follow up with the other 9? You can't. And so if you don't convert them at the open house, then you literally will never be able to talk to them again if you don't have a way to follow up with them.
Yep. That's some pretty good stats that or some facts that you're seeing with, especially with the platform, but also compared to other listing agents. What does a typical day then look like for you? Because it sounds like you also still run listings as well, your own listings, but also you're running a platform. So what does a typical day look for you, Shannon?
Well, it's you know, it's interesting because I feel like I'm in the field. I have boots on the ground, and I've gone. My technology was launched roughly in about 2020, right? And we were getting traction, and then we had COVID, and then right after COVID, we had 2.5% interest rates, where agents would come to me and say, "Oh, my house isn't on the market long enough to have an open house." And I'd be like shaking them, going, "Why are you letting a house go under contract without having an open house and without checking in 100 people at the door?" Like, people needed to see the house. Like, it was frenzy at that time. And I had agents that came to me and said, "I want to know your system." And as I had mentioned to you, those agents had, at the end of 12 months, they had over 2,500 leads in their database that they were working, that when interest rates began to climb up a little bit, they still have this nurture. And these other, and every other agent that was just putting a house on the market and hoping and getting 100 offers was missing the opportunity to capture all these leads, right? And so I feel like now open houses have come back. Now we have a very educated buyer. We have a more educated buyer, but we also have a more confused buyer.
Mhm.
So we open houses are more necessary, and agents are looking for a way to run them, a way to tell their sellers, "Hey, I really need to have an open house." And because a lot of buyers are out there looking without agents, and until they find the house, they aren't going to hire an agent. Problem is, only 5% of houses are ever held open in every week, in at least in our area. Less than 5% of homes are ever held open. So the easiest way to convert a buyer when they come in is to tell them that they can't just go to open houses. Yet it should be a way where a buyer can see a lot of the inventory, and they can't.
Okay. Now, you mentioned in your area, where in your area do you focus, or where is your platform, um, most used or most available? And I guess, is that common across other areas in the country?
Yes. So my platform is available across the country. It's available. I have agents on it in Florida, Tennessee, California, North Carolina, Oregon, Arizona, Las Vegas. I mean, it's national. It's not just
Yep.
located in Arizona. I'm located in Arizona. But the reason why I am currently as active as I am as a real estate agent is because the more I do open houses, the more I can test my own product, essentially. So I test what it is about it and the systems and all of that. And what has been
Yep.
happening lately is that when I do these open houses, I'm getting clients. So I'm I'm not really wanting to be this busy in real estate. I just am, because I wish I could tell agents that are struggling right now that you should not be. And the agents who are not struggling are the ones that it's not a lot of work. What I've created is a system, a way that you can just advertise your open house. You create the landing page, you can share it on social media. It's a 1, 2, 3. And then when you have your open house, you open up your app and you check in people with verified contact information. You can take notes on them, and they all go into a database. It makes open houses a part of your everyday business. I have open houses on Friday and on a Thursday, and I have people coming in on Thursdays and Fridays, right? But I'm not going through this entire process of going and getting charcuterie boards and this and that and all this. And I
Hmm.
think that's where agents think they don't have time for open houses, yet it's the number one lead generation source right now, I know, in the country. But the agents have been kind of trained that they have to do all this other stuff. Like, I was watching an Instagram post today, and this agent, she's amazing, but she's showing, look at all these great things you can create for your open house. And that to me just makes me think, that's a lot of work. Like, I don't
Yep.
want to do that, right? And I don't have time. So I just want to show up, have the right materials, and you have to have a system to capture the lead. And if you don't, all the all the handouts in the world aren't going to get you anywhere if you don't track who just came in the door.
Yeah. Okay. So you're the platform's helping you right now, and you're able to test it, I guess. It sounds like the only frustrating thing is that you're getting a lot more business than you probably were hoping
Yes.
for, or I guess more business is always great. But
Yep.
I guess what are the metrics that you use to what do you focus on, and what are you looking to improve? Because I guess if things are going so well, what is it then? I guess what's the next step, or what are you looking to improve upon, or what are you focusing on next?
So our technology has been like tested and tested and improved and improved, and we're finally at a point with our technology and our product where we're on autopilot now, right? It works. It's
Hmm.
phenomenal. We made it nationally available. We made it very easy to create accounts. We made it very easy to implement and use. And really, it's just teaching agents the confidence of being able to run an open house as your storefront and as your business, right? Because I think the biggest part is that agents are afraid to ask people to check in at their open houses, which is kind of crazy. We have a geocoding technology in my app where a consumer walks in, we ask them for their information, it checks them in with their mobile phone, and then we keep all of that. The agent keeps all of that in a database, and that's also what is very unique about my product versus any other open house app. Not only are we consumer direct, we're the only open house check-in system that's actually consumer direct, which means I can put a link on Facebook and I can share it from my app. And then anybody that clicks on it goes to my account and can contact me directly. And I
Yep.
think a lot of agents don't realize the power in their open house marketing, because even if we do a flyer with an address on it, if we do an Instagram post with an address on it, that is just a picture, what do you think that average consumer does if they want more
With
information?
they search the address, yeah.
They search the address, and guess what? Then they're gone. Like, I see so much marketing online where agents will advertise an open house and they'll put the address, and then they'll say, contact me for information. I'm not contacting you for more
Yeah.
information. I'm going to go over here because you don't have any pictures. You don't have any information. You have an Instagram post, right? So what I've created with Open Houses Direct, which is one of our features, is you can create a landing page. You enter 10 pictures, not 100, because you want people in the door. You want to get them interested. The top 10 pictures, you put all the detailed information about your open house, how to contact you, and all this. And that's what you post on social media. So they have to click on that link. And when they click on the link, they get all the information that they want, but they also only connect with you. And talk about lead conversion, that keeps your lead with you. And whether that is on social media, or I also see mailers and flyers where agents flyer a neighborhood. Hey, come to my open house. Here's the address, right? Oh, well, great. I want to go see it. Let's go online and find out more about this house that we want to go see in our neighborhood. The problem with the consumer doesn't understand. If you had like 10 home buyers in front of you right now, and you said, do you know that if you click that contact agent button, that it doesn't go to the listing agent and it doesn't go to the open house agent? It literally goes to somebody that knows nothing about the house. They would be like, huh? I didn't know it did that. Right. And yet we're doing that with our marketing. So I created that as well because I wanted a place for buyers to be able to find all open houses and to be able to connect directly with the open house agent. And for that agent then to be able to track every single person that comes in. There's a lot of safety in this as well. Because if I have an open house and I capture everybody's information that comes in the door, I can go back to my seller and tell them, I know every single person that came in today, and I'm going to follow up with every one of them, which is really powerful. You can't follow up with anybody if they don't check in. And the what you don't want as well is you don't want to ask for feedback at the door in front of
Yeah.
another buyer and have that buyer rip apart the house right in front of a potential client, right? So you really want feedback to be anonymous. And the only way to do that is to be able to follow up with everybody.
Yep. Okay. So what's then, I guess, that you're focusing on next, or what's the next, things are working great now, it sounds like, and you've got the system working well. But I guess, if you look 6 to 12 months from now, where do you sort of hoping to be in 6 to 12 months with the platform?
We're really growing our national adoption, and we are partnering with a few companies right now that are going to help us integrate with national CRMs across the country. We have had the power of being able to capture the data that we can at an open house, where we can put that directly into a CRM, and we can tag them with certain
Mm-hmm.
tags. And I think that I think there's a lot of companies out there that do automated follow up, and I know that's where AI is going to be able to, learn the client. And if you could connect an open house lead with an AI follow up, and that AI follow up knew the address that it came in and the price point that it came in at and the time of day and what the demographic of the neighborhood was and all of that, look at how you could then cater the follow up to be able to be more catered towards that client. And that's what my product does. You can take in your entire CSV, when you transfer the lead, it has all that information in it. And it also has your notes on it as well. So maybe it could also, you could learn how to put notes in the notes section that your AI follow up would be able to then pick up on. So then it becomes a personal follow up, because right now
Mm-hmm.
our follow up systems aren't personal. Anybody knows, even as an agent, I know the minute I'm getting a personal follow up and the minute I'm on a drip campaign, right? And if we could make our drip campaigns look a little more personal by being able to take the notes and the address and all of that out of the lead, it's a game changer. So we're really working now that we have the agent adoption. Agents want it. Open houses are coming back a lot stronger. Now
Mm-hmm.
we just are integrating with the national CRMs right now.
Okay. Okay. And are they open to also exploring furthermore, besides linking the CRM? Are they also open to exploring more options with how the follow-up happens, or the CRM just the CRM? And are you having to develop the next steps, I guess, for
No,
the platform?
we are not a CRM. I'm not a CRM, right? We
Yep.
are a database. We're a lead capture program. And I know, and that's, I think, where we're different is I don't want to be a CRM.
Yep.
I'm a database. I'm a database. And there is so much power in my database right now, in the last 12 months, I probably have close to 900 leads, right? In 12 months, like what would an agent pay for 900 leads that they could put into their database, into their CRM, and tag them like based on address and all these other things, and put them on a drip campaign or at least a follow up of some sort, right? Um, and I didn't have to pay for any of them. The
Yep.
leads are free, right?
Yeah.
So, but is that what you're asking? Like, we're not going to do, I don't want to become a CRM. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I know you're connecting two CRMs. It's just more like, what are the CRM going to do with it, or are they doing it?
Yes.
But yeah, if you had the ability to also then provide, not just the provide to the CRM the data, but also the follow up mechanisms, is
Yes.
that where? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I
that's
think,
interesting.
well, because of the note taking option with our
Yep.
notes, like I love what we've created is our handheld app. The minute I check in a guest, it's so fast. It would take me like maybe 10 seconds to check somebody in at the door. It's not a registration, right? And that's what's so different. That's why we get so much compliance by consumers. They walk in, you check them in. We have to check in everywhere now, right? We have to check in at restaurants, and everybody else is asking us to check in. And we do it because it's a system, right? When we
Yep.
walk in, they say, you need to check in. I need your phone number. Okay, I'm going to text you a code, and then I'll let you know when your table's ready, right? They do that now. If we say no, then they can't tell us when our table's ready, right? It's the same thing at an open house. I'm just gonna check you in, and then I'll give you a flyer, and you can walk around, right? But then the conversations, there's so much psychology behind. It's like the elephant in the room, right? Or have you ever heard of eating the frog?
I've heard of eating the elephant,
Okay.
uh,
Same thing.
or boiling the frog.
I wouldn't want to eat an elephant, my gosh. But it's like kind of the same thing. Consumers are so trained to be attacked at open houses that if when they walk in, if an agent doesn't check them in at the door, like, and it's almost like eat the frog. Like if they don't get it out of the way, that consumer will spend less time in that house because that they're going to try and get in and out as fast as they can, and they're going to try and avoid the agent, right? Because they're like, oh God, I don't want to do this, right? But when you do it at the door and it becomes a system that's mandatory, and it's just a name and a phone number, I just need to check you in, and then you let them roam around, it's like they just ate the frog. Now, whew, well, that's over with. Now we can go enjoy the house because now the agent's not going to be trying to get us to the sign in sheet. It really changes the dynamic of an open house. And maybe that's where the conversions go up so high, is because everybody's relaxed. Even the agent is relaxed. Because when I was an agent without a system, which I was, and I would be having open houses, and I'd have all these people coming in, and I know they're hot buyers, and I'd be like, how do I get them to my piece of paper? And they would be like, oh my gosh, it was great meeting you, bye. And they walk out, and you're like, wow, I just lost the hottest lead, and they're never going to find me. Hopefully they'll call me on my business card, and they don't, right? So I think having that system really changes the dynamics of the open house, and it really does affect whether or not a buyer is going to remain in the house longer or not. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.